Good morning, Dr. Ash. Good morning, Gussi. Nice to have you here.
Good morning, Michael.
You are the first one today, but we will start in less than 1 minute time. So I am sure the others will join. Leslie is there as well. And yes, we will go for it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the next Power of Touch. Industry 5.0 in which we write on the back of language towards the wasteless world. And we speak about one term, one word, and the word today is rose. And I would be happy to start with Dr. Ash. Dr. Ash, if you heard for the first time the word for today, what was the first what came to your mind, please?
Hello, Michael. It's great to be back with you all. And hello, everyone who's joining in. Today, I'm going to talk to you about my personal feelings and thoughts on the word rose, which you have chosen. In a world where wars still rage against civilians and peace slips through our fingers, I speak today of a single flower, one that carries more meaning than beauty. I speak about the rose, the word that you have chosen. The rose is not just petals and perfume, it's a warrior in bloom to my mind. It grows in the dirt, survives the storm, and still dares to open up to the sun. In times of chaos, when tempers flare, when nations crumble under the weight of greed, ego, and failed leadership, it is not the roar of power we need. It is the quiet strength of the rose. In this age where wars rage, where thorns seem to multiply, where peace feels like a myth, we must ask ourselves, are we planting flowers or are we sharpening spears of days gone past? Poor leadership fuels division, spreads fear, and cultivates only more thorns. But roses remind us that growth is still possible. Beauty can bloom even in broken ground. The rose does not apologize for its thorns, but it does not lead with them. That is the balance we have forgotten. Each rose today, Michael, is a promise that softens and can be a strength by itself. That elegance can endure, and that hope, though delicate, is extremely powerful. We give roses in love because they speak the truth without words. We choose roses in remembrance because they carry dignity even in sorrow. So let us rise like the rose. Let us root ourselves in compassion, stretch towards peace, and bloom boldly, even when the world around us appears so troubled. We can only pray that peace may prevail in our world of today and that innocent lives may not be lost. Their lives are our lives. That's the way I think. And that is the way we must all collectively think and feel for others in pain and suffering. Because in the end, it is not the thorns that will save us, it is the courage to bloom. Be the rose. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ash. Leslie, I would like to take you second. The same question. When you heard for the first time the term for today's discussion, what came first to your mind, please?
Well, good morning, everyone. That was lovely, Dr. Ash. Thank you for that. I really appreciate listening to what you're sharing. It's a great way to start my day, which is very early in the United States. So, you used to say, Michael, when you close your eyes and you think of the word rose, what comes up for you? You've changed it to when you first heard the word. So in both cases, we once we know the word, that was the first time we thought of it in this context. But anyway, getting beyond that, I think I like when I close my eyes better. So the first thing that came to mind for me, and I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, was this quote, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. And that's William Shakespeare. But it is an odd quote. And it's basically Juliet saying to herself, really, any I'm not so good. It was really demeaning in a way because it took me a while to figure this out. Um, that she's actually demeaning herself, that any other woman would smell as sweet. But the bigger thing that really came to my mind was the polar opposite of they rose, they fell. And then what came to mind was, of course, with today's politics, and I'm not going to spend time on it, but I will say that what is it that has people rise to power, and then what causes them to fall? And both must occur, but it's not necessarily based on a predictable time. That is the universe. So we're going to have the worst, but then we can always look forward to its polar opposite, which is the best, as long as you're always looking for the best, because we have choice. And my experience is that most people on the planet, certainly not this group and not Industry 5.0, but most people spend their time looking for what's wrong, for what fell, or that we are falling, rather than looking from the top of the mountain, right, if you will, where have we risen and where have we fallen? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leslie, for the powerful word and imagination. Usi, when you heard for the first time the term and you close your eyes, what came first to your mind, please?
Thank you, Michael, for this opportunity. I'm truly honored to be part of this beautiful Power of Touch family. You know, Michael, rose is more than just a flower. It is a feeling, a memory, and a gentle lesson that speaks directly to the soul. To me, a rose is beauty wrapped in strings, like Dr. Ish talked about strings, and Leslie, power of strings. It is a petal as soft and inviting, yet it is soon reminds us to move with care and respect. The suns are not just a defense, they are a lesson that true beauty carries boundaries, that every connection requires mindfulness, and that strings and grace can coexist in perfectly harmony. A rose teaches us that gentle touch can inspire, heal, and protect, while respecting the limits that safeguards life and relationship. I think of my auntie who lived in Membeni, Zanzibar, and is no longer with us. In the evenings, she would walk through a garden, admiring the roses that bloomed so brings so brightly and filled the air with her sweet fragrance. She would gently pick a few and place them in her resting area, where their sweet smile stayed in the air. As a child, I would sit with her in those quiet moments, listening to her stories of freedom, tales of courage, unity, and the strength of human spirit. To her, the roses were never just flowers. They carried a love for life and the wisdom she passed on to me. So when I hear the word rose, I think of balance, softness, and resilience, beauty, and boundaries. It reminds me that every touch, every connection carries the power to inspire, to heal, and to protect. To me, a rose is a symbol of freedom, cared for with love and shared through stories that, like it is sweet smile, stay with us long after the moment has passed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Usi. Tracy, I will ask you the same question, and I would like to thank you because you carry our term, our word, in your hair today. So, what came first to your mind when you hear the term?
Thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. I purposely changed that profile photo avatar, and thank you for noticing that. And normally, I don't have this one because this is actually was requested by one of my connections. For sure, they said you are from Texas, right? Yellow Rose is from Texas. You can have a hair with the flower. That's why I have this one. Actually. Roses are not from China at all, okay? But we do have a counterpart in China. We call that month season. Why? Because it's a very close cousin to roses, but that flower blooms every single month. That's why the name is month season. Literally translate into moon season because moon and the month are the same in Chinese lunar calendar. So, like Leslie said, she talked about the fragrance, and actually it has personality. We personify a lot of things. Roses, for me, I think I said something not too long ago. Um, if you like roses, you better know how to take care of the thorns. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tracy. And thank you for changing the image because it is so beautiful. I was thinking to put a rose instead of my image, then I decided not because my hair is too short to carry the rose the same way. Tommy, you are the next one. If you close your eyes and you hear the term rose, what came first to your mind, please? I see you are unmuted, Tommy, but we don't hear you for whatever reason. It seems like a problem with your microphone. No, we cannot hear you. If you try to log in again, I will ask you the same question in the next round, if it's fine for you. Thank you. Dr. Ash, it was such a beautiful and powerful explanation of the term rose from everyone. And the reason why I choose the term was that Jane, my new love, she liked roses so much. And it was so pleasant for me to give her the rose because it reminds her on the time she spent with her mother and grandmother, which both unfortunately are gone. So let me ask Tommy. Tommy, do you hear me? I can see your image. So the same question for you. Yes, we can hear you right now. So same question for you. If you close your eyes and you hear the term rose, what came first to your mind, please? And it was strange because for a moment I can hear you, but right now it's not there. I don't know if it's connected to the picture, maybe. When the video was on, I was able to hear you because right now I don't. Let's try. No, I can see your lips moving, but it was just a short moment when I heard your voice, and then it disappeared. So I don't know what's going on, but if you will log in again, I will try to pick you up, but right now we will continue. Dr. Ash, is there any, because it was mentioned from Musse that the rose for him is the sign of freedom, and you are the peace. You are the man who is bringing the peace to the world. Do you have the same image as a rose, as a flower of peace in your mind?
Yes, absolutely, Michael. I do believe that the rose brings about a feeling of, should I say, serenity, where people can actually change their thought process through the smell of the rose. It's so pleasant, it's enchanting, actually. So let me take you back, as you mentioned about giving a rose and the pleasantries that followed. Let me mention a wee bit about my personal life also. When I got married, many years back in Karachi, I still remember that while driving at Karachi traffic lights, you normally have these young little boys who hold out flowers in their hands. And my wife loves jasmines, the smell of jasmines. And these boys had roses and jasmines also. Now in Pakistan, we have two kinds of roses. The English rose is present, but unfortunately, that doesn't have a pleasant fragrance as such. But the Pakistani rose has a beautiful fragrance. And I asked my wife at the beginning, I said, which flower do you want? And she said, I prefer the old ones that I really like. And that was the Pakistani rose because of its fragrance. So I used to get up early in the morning, every morning, and even now too, whenever I get the opportunity, especially in winter, when I go out for my early morning walk, I normally pick a flower which I put on my bedside, my wife's bedside table, so that when she wakes up, she will always wake up with a thought of me and that rose on her side table. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ash. Leslie, your surname is connected to rose, it's flowers. And my question is, do you think that we should rate flowers differently, or we should understand them the same as a human, so the life living beings which are here with us, and I hope they will be with us in Wasteless World?
I'm not exactly what you're asking.
Uh, should the rose have some special place in the world of flowers?
Oh, no, no. I think it's up to the individuals. It's what we're the ones putting labels on flowers anyway. It's human beings that are meaning making machines. We can't stand anything unless we can make it mean something. It has to mean something to us. So, but the interesting part is that each human being sees that same rose differently. The smelling of that same rose, it occurs to us differently. And I did love what you said, Dr. Ash, about how the fragrance affects our thinking. Indeed, it does, because it brings back memories, right? So you have that, we know that with the olfactory senses, that we can go back to childhood by smelling something that grandmother cooked every Sunday, right? So I really love that. Um, but I think that what's important here is that we have the choice. We will see it uniquely, and we can regard all life with grace and reverence. The only distant distinction between us, the meaning making machines, and the flowers and the trees and the animals is that we were given conscious thought and awareness. And with every gift or every angel, there's going to be a devil. So again, the polarity between rose, they fell. It all kind of works together, doesn't it, Michael? I wasn't sure what was going to happen with this conversation, but I think it's interesting how this has progressed. Thank you.
It is. You are absolutely right. Usit, you mentioned your aunt and your memories from the time when you have been a child sitting with her on the table. Are your memories associated with the smell of rose? Means the question is, if you smell a rose today, you came to this memory, so it's like a time travel machine?
So you mean when I smile the rose now,
Yes.
it's the same to memories when I was a child?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, the same. Uh, Michael, my auntie shared a story of freedom, courage, and human unity. Each story was like a rose, beautiful but strong. Teach me to respect others, value life, and have heart full of care. I learned that every person has value and a gentle touch, kind words, and shared wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Usit. Tracy, uh, as you explained, they are not the same type of roses in China, but you are living in the US. Do you have a garden in which you plant roses?
Nicole, you're asking the perfect question. I have a garden with only roses and bamboos and nothing else. And those roses are really tall. Texas roses can grow up to, I think, 6 feet. The one I have in my backyard, they are taller than me. I'm almost 5 feet, not quite yet. They're very thorny. They have normally 3 flowers stemming out from one branch. So they are not the ones that long stem, the one sold in the floral stores, but they are very delicate. They are kind of small, not very big and grand. And one thing very interesting about roses, they are always half bloom. They are never open all the way up like the daisies or magnolias. They are always like a semi blooming. It's quite interesting. So they are not really fully open, but they are half there. I guess that's probably symbolically you have to meet me halfway somewhere, a compromise. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Dr. Esch, there are wild roses and the roses which are artificial, let's say, influenced by the human touch. And in my country, the wild roses are the rose hips, which we make tea of, which is very healthy. Do you know that except of perfumes, there is some systematic utilization of the roses, of the stems, or of the roses itself in any other human activity?
No, not as such, but I'd like to mention here the idea of garlands. That is where it is utilized, really speaking. And here, the local custom in Pakistan is that the bridegroom and the bride, when they get married, they are both, heavily garlanded, should I say. And it's surprising sometimes there people are putting so many garlands on the bride and the bridegroom that they can hardly even see through all those flowers. But it gives you a sense of um justification of the ceremony of a marriage, where uh, people are actually um, absolutely embedded in flowers, should I say? And the very fact of a rose amongst all those flowers which stand out. I love a red rose as such, and if a rose can stand out so beautifully amongst the rest of the flowers, whether it's wild or whether it's, as you mentioned, or whether it's a normal garden rose that I have in my garden, say, like, it makes no difference. It's the color, and should I say, the ambience wherever you might be, that make the difference in the world of today. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ash. Leslie, I know that you are familiar with the fourth dimension, and I would like to know, are there roses in the fourth dimension?
Well, actually, it's the fifth. I'm so good that I've
Fifth,
skipped from the
sorry.
third. Well, I just skipped right over the fourth because
Okay.
when you're as elevated as I am in emotional intelligence, there was no need to stop there and just jump right to the fifth. I'm joking, of course, right? Okay. Well, on the fifth dimension where the truffles grow, there are no roses. But what there is the carbon required to keep the truffles fresh when the suns blare and glare down 3/4 of the day. That is what is going on in the fifth dimension on Errata, and that is completely, purely visualized in this moment. Now, I did want to answer your question, though, to Dr. Arshad, which he didn't answer, and I'm thankful, so I get to. There is something about the rose in society that is very unpleasant, and that is funerals. Roses are the bloom of choice in funerals. There are perfumes that smell like roses, and I've had people say, that smells like a funeral parlor. So while the rose is elevated to probably the most beautiful, certainly by Dr. Arshad and many of us, at the same time, by law, it must have the opposite. And the opposite is the sadness, regret, and the missing of a loved one. And that fragrance permeates the world around the person who has passed and the people that are there to revere them. So there's two answers. The first of which was a little crazy. The second of which really, I was looking for something about the rose that was unique when you asked it to Dr. Arshad. And then all of a sudden, I remembered that smell. That smell. It's not necessarily nice in that environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just put a rose from my mom's garden instead of my image. And it was taken shortly after my granddad passed away, nearing 100th anniversary. And I still do remember, Leslie, what you said. Usi, are there special types of roses in Tanzania, as Tracy described the ones in China, or do you have just English or the same or similar roses as we are having here, which is pictured on the image?
We have two type of rose, white rose and red rose, like Dr. Ash talk.
Do they
Only
smell
two types.
Do they
Good
smell the
smile.
same? Do they smell the same?
The same smile, yes.
Okay.
But it's a different color. It is different color, but it's the same smile.
Thank you. Thank you. Tracy,
You're welcome.
You all the time you speak or you finish the conversation, or many times, with the Chinese proverbs, but at the beginning you said there are no roses in China. So is there any proverb or saying in China connected to roses?
Michael, I'm sorry. I looked it up, but there are lots of poems, but not really anything can connect it to a wise saying. But I did find a very interesting song. You probably heard it before. It was composed back in 1951 by a American singer. His name is Frankie Lane, and he had a relationship with a Malaysian performer. Her name is Rose Chen. So it's a famous song. May I play just a little, a
Yes,
few?
please. Yes,
Okay.
please.
I'm going to turn the volume on my phone right here. It's very plainful. Let's go.
I am not sure if it's playing already, but we don't hear it. Okay.
Okay, I will put that.
Right now we was there. It was there, the sound. It was just a short delay.
Okay, I will put it in the chat or send it under the link later on when you do your posting and people
Okay.
can hear. It's very interesting because I think the original one was done in English, but this particular one has a mix of Malaysian language and English. It's very playful.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You know, you just pointed one very interesting topic. You pointed the name Rose become the name of person, the first name of person. At least in my country, in Czech Republic, there are not many names of flowers which are used as a names of people. And I think there is not a single one which is allocated to men. The only ones are like women's name. And I would like to ask right now, Dr. Ash, do you know whether in Pakistan there exists a name of a man which is like a flower?
No, I'm afraid not. I can't think of anything. That was a quick question for me. I can't imagine. My aunt in England, she's dead now, sadly, but she was Auntie Rose. But in Pakistan, I think there is something in combination with the jasmine flower, chimbeli, as it's called in Urdu, and girls do have that name, but not of the rose. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much. You know, when I woke up with this term, I was really not sure about it, but I was sure when the universe sent me this term that it will be a powerful conversation, and it was. It was so wonderful. In Czech, as I mentioned the names, we have something like the Czech language. We have a lot of, so let's say, small names when we take one word like rose, which in Czech is a růže, and we make it like a very small and tiny. We make another word. This is růženka, and the růženka is the name like little rose, which we use as a first name for ladies, and it's quite interesting how it was. And I think that in many languages we use the flowers, but usually in association with the name of a woman or a girl, which is quite interesting. I will investigate after. We have less than 2 minutes time, and I would like to thank you because it was so wonderful again. So wonderful.
Michael,
Yes?
sorry, I would like to correct. Here in Tanzania, we have 3 type of rose:
Okay.
yellow rose, white rose, and red rose. But the same smile, all 3 type of rose. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Usi. And you know, I probably have already the term for the next week, but I would like to ask you if you will be ready to have a next session without knowing the term before. I will tell you it in the first minutes of the start of conversation. Please think about it. It will not happen next week, but I would like to try this one. And for now, let me thank you. Let me thank you for the beautiful smell of roses which we left behind of our conversation, riding towards the wasteless world altogether, with you, members of my family, and with you who are building wasteless world. So have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, be human, and be as beautiful as the rose and withstand all negatives as the rose does it. Thanks a lot and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye and goodbye, everyone.